that we are putting on this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And today we have Tim Wall, and he is going to be presenting on expectations of body shops. I'm going to give you a little bit of snippet about Tim. Tim Wall has been involved in the collision industry or collision repair industry for over 30 years, starting with high school technical programs in Western New York and ending with owning and operating a successful body shop in Glade Hill, Virginia for 18 years and counting. All right, with that, I'll hand it over to you, Tim, and thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, well, good morning, everyone, and I want to start out thanking all of you for attending. We certainly wish that, that this was a little bit of a different venue, but thank God for technology, and thank God that we can all be here right now. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to come in and pay attention to what's going on in the industry. I also want to thank URG, a fantastic organization, and just really appreciate and I'm honored, to be here to be on with you this morning. But my hope is with this is you're going to have a little better understanding of what happens when your parts hit the doors of a body shop, and get a little better understanding of what challenges body shops go through, especially concerning used recycled parts. So without further ado, we're going to dive right in here. And so we're going to start out Body Shop Business 101. We usually have two customers, and first and foremost, of course, is the vehicle owner. That's the person that we're usually dealing with the most. And then, of course, we can't not pay attention to the insurance company as well, because the vehicle owner, of course, owns the vehicle, but the insurance company is the one that's footing the bill. So we really have to work with both of these unique customers, and they both have different expectations, and quite often they're a lot different. So we've got the vehicle owner here, and he is in debt up to his eyeballs, and he has a $650 a month car payment on his SUV, and he's concerned that if the parts that go on there, they don't fit properly, or it's going to hurt the quality. He's already concerned about the Carfax, and when he goes to trade in his SUV. So he wants nothing but all brand new parts, and he expects this to be better than it was the day before someone backed into him. And the insurance company is screaming even louder that you need to get the most inexpensive, or even sometimes the cheapest. I don't like to use that term cheapest, but definitely the most inexpensive parts that you can find. Oops. Sorry, I went back. So we, the body shop, we're stuck right in the middle, and we've got the customer, both of our customers screaming and telling us two different things. So we have to try to make everyone happy. In our shop, the number one thing we really try to do, of course, is to stay away from aftermarket parts, just obviously because of the fit and the quality of the part. So we do really push recycled. We also own a recycling yard as well, so we probably doubly there. We're pushing to repair the vehicles with recycled sheet metal and parts and so forth. But we do have to make both of these customers happy, and we obviously have to make a profit if we want to stay in business. So this brings us to the whole reason that all of us are here this morning is quality used parts. If I asked for a show of hands, I'm sure every recycler out there would say they have quality used parts. I think that goes without saying. Everyone has quality used parts. From our standpoint in the body shop, I'm getting paid the same amount of money, the same amount of labor to put a used fender on, or a used hood on, or a used headlight than I am putting a brand new OEM part. So with that being said, these two photos that you're looking at are not from the internet. These are literally taken from our shop, and I want to spend a few minutes here describing what you're seeing. The two hoods that you're seeing laying on the floor of a box truck, This is exactly what we saw when the salvage yard driver came back and flung the door open to bring us a hood. I believe this was on a Subaru Impreza. And the yard, instead of bringing one hood, they brought two because both of them were in pretty rough shape. So I think they just kind of wanted us to pick one. But the unique part of it is if you can look over in the corner, you see these wonderful little cardboard protectors. Maybe some of you guys use those. The problem is it doesn't do any good if you're not doing anything other than this driver did to take care of these. He leaned both of them up against each other, ran the ratchet strap that you see laying there on the floor, apparently very loosely, but also along about the bottom 8 or 10 inches of the hood. So the first bump he hit or the first corner he took, those hoods both flopped down on the ground and they rode along on there, and the sheet metal wasn't hitting on much when it left their yard. It was certainly not in great shape by the time it got to us. So we did reject both of those hoods, because of that. So this is what we're dealing with. The fender over here is another great example. In good shape. There was no damage to it. Everything looked real good from the outside. I really didn't like the spray painted B33. I don't believe that came from the auction. We don't see that, at least not in our area, from the auctions. But in this case, it could have been the yard. Maybe it was the way they brought their inventory in. I'm not exactly sure. But it just one more thing that we would have had to do to prep this fender. But the greatest part of it is if you look way down the corner right here by the bumper stay, you'll see a little yellow sticker. And if you know anything about that little yellow sticker, that's a CAPA certified sticker. So this vehicle, I believe, was a Toyota Corolla, was involved in an accident. The body shop did a great job with this aftermarket fender, even greater than a lot of other shops, because they really did do the right thing as far as the warranty from CAPA. They masked off the little sticker, and there's a perforated side of that the body shop would hang on to as well, with an identifying note to that. The point I'm trying to make here, guys, is this salvage operator took this fender off. It was aftermarket, shipped it to me as a recycled OEM, and of course I couldn't use it. Even if I could have used it, I would have bought it directly from my recycled parts company and probably got a much better price on it than what I would have paid for the used fender as well. So these are just a couple examples of what we're seeing coming in from recycling yards. Now, before I go any farther, I want you all to know that I've been in the body shop business for 30 years. I'm also an auto salvage operator. Just got into that about 4 or 5 years ago. But I want you to know that I am on your side, and there is going to be a silver lining as we move along. It's not going to be all doom and gloom. But this is my other option. Remember, my price and my labor is the same. Whichever hood, whichever part that I use, I'm going to get paid the same amount of labor. So this hood, the hoods that you see, and I put this windshield in the middle to just show how these parts are packaged from the OEMs. And I know you guys are already thinking to yourself, well, we're not selling new parts, we're selling used parts. It's true. You're really not in competition here, but the truth of the matter is you are. And this is the competition that you're going to deal with body shops. So I want you to take off your auto recycler's hat for just a minute, and I want you to just pretend that you own the body shop. And I'd like you to tell me which part it is that you're going to use. I want you to remember that who your customer is. I want you also to remember that you're getting paid the same regardless. We've got this damage on the hoods over here that you're seeing that we saw laying on the floor. Had I used one of those, I would have paid a technician, probably, with no exaggeration, probably would have paid a technician 4 hours to repair either one of these. One of them, actually, the paint would have had to have been stripped off. There were several dings, dents, and scratches and so forth in it. The other OEM hood, I would send that directly to my painter. He would scuff it, spray sealer on it, and paint it, and it would go out the door. So I think we all know what answer anybody would give. So recyclers, again, this is your competition. When it comes to the body shop, this is who you're competing with. And this is where I want to start turning and give you a little bit of a silver lining of what I think that you can come up with. So how are you possibly going to compete with this? Because what will happen if you send a recycled part to my shop and it comes with more damage than you described to me, the only thing I can do is send it back with your driver. So you've paid someone to pull that part, you've loaded it, you've run it through your inventory. Lord knows how many people have touched that part to get it onto the truck. Then you deliver it to my shop only for me to say, I can't accept it, I don't want it. So you're losing. Sorry, guys. So I've got 3 points that I believe will help all of us. Number 1, sell a perfectly described part. Number 2, educate your body shops. And number 3, do not be the cheapest guy out there. I cannot emphasize number 3 enough. Sell a perfectly described part. If you're putting your part out there online, most of the time it's not going to be me that goes in to look for it. It's going to be an insurance adjuster. So you put your part out there, and if it's a grade A 000, my expectation from the body shop is going to be in 1 hour or less, it's going to be paintable. I'll be honest, I'm still not super excited about that. I'm glad that it's grade A 000. I'm glad that it's you know, got a less than a credit card size bit of damage on it. But if anybody's saving money there, it's not me. It's not even my customer. It's the insurance company, which of course is my customer. But the insurance company is doing that. That's where the savings is going to be, because they're saving money because they're buying a part, of course, a recycled part. And it's not going to be the same price as an OEM part. So you've got to understand that it comes into my body shop, and it is a different process of what I've got to do with a used part versus a new one. We're gonna touch base on that here in the next slide. So again, competing here, number 2 would be to educate your body shops. If you're selling your part at the premium price, let your shops know that they can be discounted upon delivery. That's more money in the body shop's bottom line, win-win. Encourage your body shops to pass the repair time onto the insurance company. Selling your part at a premium price. So let's say we've got a door and you need $350 for that door. And you know it's got a little bit of damage on it. It's not bad. You would still be able to put it in that grade A or that 000 price point. But if you know that it's going to come to a shop and I'm going to see a couple dings in it that I'm going to have to repair, I'm going to need some time on it. So if you're putting that part out there at your bottom dollar, and let's say it's $350 just for a figure, Mr. Insurance Adjuster comes in and he hits that, chooses that part. I contact you. Yes, I've got it. It comes to my shop. I'm paying $350 for it. I'm going to mark that up. I'm putting my markup on there that the insurance company is allowing me to do because I've got to make money on my parts. But I look at it and I'm going to spend a couple hours repairing it. I pick up the phone. I'm calling you up and I'm going to say, hey guys, I gotta beat you up on this. I need to take some money off of this, and won't get into what my labor rate is, but let's say it's going to run in the $100. We're going to need to take off of that part. Now you're down to $250 on a door that you needed to sell for $350. You can't come down that far. I can't flex that much because honestly, Mr. Dealership has got it in stock and I can have it tomorrow morning. So it's just going to be that much easier for me to roll that way. If you're putting your stuff out there online at your rock bottom dollar to try to make the sale, you're giving me no room to work with you. So that gives me more time. If the other side of the spectrum, if you've got it and you put your part out there, let's say you put it out for $425 or $450, and you've got a little bit of wiggle room there. So now when that door comes into me, Insurance company is happy because it's still less money than the OEMs. And it comes into me, and I call you up and I say, hey, I need a couple hours. We negotiate to an hour and a half or whatever we need to do. You can knock 75 bucks off that part. You're still making the money that you need to make. I'm happy because I just added a couple hours worth of labor to that RO. Whether my guys are flat rate or whether my guys are hourly, it's working out for me because I can give my flat rate technician a couple extra hours on the RO to knock out a few dents. I can, if my guys are hourly, which is the way our shop runs, I can put that at them, and I just added that much more sales to that ticket that I would not have had with an OEM part. So I love used parts for that reason, for what I just described to you. The frustrating part is when we get involved with a yard that we don't deal with, that somebody they're the only person that has a part, or the insurance company chose this recycler and I can't find it anywhere else or work it out. The problem is a lot of times the first scenario that I gave you is I don't have anywhere to work. So then I've wasted my time, I've wasted the recycler's time, I've wasted both of my customers' times. Now I'm waiting to get that OEM part in. On top of this, if you have an open relationship with your body shops, reach out to them. Take some of your people, some of your sales people, go visit these guys. You want to know what? If you walk in and buy the guy lunch who's picking up the phone and ordering parts from you, if you're getting emails from them, send these guys a gift card, do something, reach out to these guys, but really build that relationship where you can encourage your body shops to pass this repair time onto the insurance company. So let's take this thing and look back at it again. These insurance companies are the ones, they're making a great savings by choosing recycled parts. It's fantastic. We push them really hard to give us credit on a recycled part so that we don't have to beat you up. But what'll happen is a lot of times they are really pushing back on this hard if we're putting a couple hours cleanup time, clean up recycled parts, so forth, which will kind of cover a gamut of things. But a lot of them are pushing back really hard now, saying, we can't pay you that. We're not paying you that. And believe me, our shop pushes really hard to get paid for every possible thing that we can do. But I do know that from the body shop standpoint, if you reach out to your body shops and you can encourage them, say, hey, let's start pushing this. We're not selling new parts. We're really not in competition here with OEM. So how about the body shops really start pushing that repair time back onto the insurance company? Insurance company is still saving money, but they're really just paying for what actually has to be done with it. So I hope that all makes sense. It really is a great benefit for a body shop owner to sell a recycled part for the basic reason that is, as long as we can get paid to do a little more repair time on those recycled parts that are coming in. So again, here, if your business model is to go and look online and see who's got that door for the cheapest one you find out there is 350 bucks. And if you're going to come in at 345, just to beat that guy, or you're going to come in for $300, you've got to know that when it comes into my shop, I'm gonna find something with it. There's going to be something that is going to inhibit it from just going straight into paint, whether it's a tiny little ding or a tiny scratch or a stone chip. It's a different process for me versus just going straight into paint. So again, that insurance company is the one that is out there looking at the parts. They're the ones that are making the savings on it. So if you put your stuff in there as the cheapest guy out there and you don't have any room to work with me once that comes in, it's going to be twice as bad for you, because not only are you not going to make the sale, you're going to have all of that investment in that part, and I'm going to be forced to put it on the truck and send it right back to you. When parts come into our shop, and I know many other shops are like this, we have a process where before we accept that part, it comes off the truck. If it needs to be washed, we wipe it down. If the panel is not clean to where we can get it in the light and really look at it, we get right down and we look it over with a fine-tooth comb. So to be honest, some of our recyclers really don't like it, but we do kind of have to pick these apart because we do know that once that truck's gone, it's usually a little bit more difficult to get any kind of credit. If we do find any damage to it, we look at it, we assess it. If it's an hour or two, we pick up the phone right then and there, call the salesman that we dealt with from that particular recycler and said, hey, we got a little bit of a problem here. We're going to need this much. We've developed a great relationship with all of our recyclers. What we do, I literally will ask them, and our salespeople, our parts handlers will ask the recyclers to mark their parts up, put them up there at a premium, because I'm gonna beat you up on it when it comes in the door. I will almost always guarantee that I will find something wrong with it, whether it's a little ripple, a little wave, or a little ding. Most of you guys probably have a pretty decent understanding. But again, what happens when a used part comes in and it has that small ding, it's, even if it's just a quick block it out and put a little bit of filler over it and sand it, I still then have to prime it. Then I have to prep that primer, sand that primer to be able to get it into the painter. And it's not a big deal, don't get me wrong, but as far as efficiency, it really does change things up. So I just want you guys to understand that it is a little bit different. Primer is not free, it's very expensive. Labor is not free, it's very expensive as well. So that's really it. I want to wrap up. It looks like we did have a couple questions, and I might need a little bit of help figuring.
Yeah, no worries. So CCC1, Brett is asking, CCC1 looks at price, and if it's too high, the order won't come in. It's a question. Ed asked if we are recording this. We are recording this, and we will be posting it to our Facebook and YouTube channel. I can also email you the link to it too, as well, Ed. It looks like Anthony Wall, I've heard from different shops say something like, I wouldn't order from that yard, or I don't call that yard unless I have to, about other yards. Is that common? If so, how does that work if the ins company quote that part from that yard? Do shops have flexibility about yards they order from?
Yeah, I can order anywhere I want. The problem is if they write, ABC Recycling, and hope nobody's from ABC Recycling. I just made that up. But if they quote it from from ABC Recycling, and I decide to buy it from 123 Recycling, I'm on my own. If 123 Recycling can match the price that was given by ABC, then we're in good shape as long as there's not a problem. If that part comes to me and it's no good and I reject it and I have to get an OE one, usually it depends on the insurance company, but usually they're going to say, well, why didn't you get it from the company that we told you to get it from? I've got a recycler right now that I really, as a rule, will not order from. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever gotten a headlight from this company without a broken tap. Like, I don't think ever, say nothing about sheet metal, but it's just like, I think they tried to break stuff before they sent it to us. But I see them on estimates a lot. And it's probably taken 2 or 3 years, but now we're just starting to see a trend where the insurance companies have taken them off and they won't even look at them. They've gotten permission from their higher ups to take this particular yard out of their system, so we don't, just because we've all had so many problems with them. So again, I hope that answers the question. We definitely have the freedom to it. If I know that I'm going to lose, if I'm going to get a part that's I can't use from a yard, I won't bother picking up the phone and calling them. Even if I've got to, lose a percentage, or even if I have to pay the difference in an OE part, in the long game, in my whole business, I'll make more money. We'll be way more profitable if we just get the car fixed at that point. Under normal circumstances, if you get a $2,500 headlight, that changes things, because you can't make concessions like that. But yeah, hope that answers as well.
Definitely. Okay, so we got another one. So will insurance company pay more for a premium part from me, even if they claim they have found a cheaper part from another supplier with no quality issue or proven quality issue with that specific part?
It's a tough one. It depends on the insurance company. most of the adjusters that I talk to anymore, they come in, they're stress balls. They are stressed out because they've just got, again, somebody looking at numbers, and if their used parts numbers are not high enough, they're at risk of losing their job. I mean, so many of them have been replaced by a mobile app. And, one insurance company in particular that I could tell you 6-7 years ago, where we had 12 different adjusters that we dealt with just from that insurance company. Now there's 2. And, we're seeing more of the mobile apps. We're seeing more where we just write the estimates and just send them in, and someone sitting at a desk somewhere, looks it over and approves it. So again, it's coming back to that relationship with the body shop. I think the body shop, from my standpoint, if I've got a good relationship with you and I know your parts are good, and even more so than that, I know that if I have a problem with your part, you're going to be able to work with me on it, even if it comes to a loss for you, because we're doing so much business together. If I know that relationship's good, I'm the one that's writing you the check. I'm the one that's paying for the part. So I think that battle would be tough to win with the insurance company, to get them to pay that premium part, unless the yard that has it, is like the one I described before, where the insurance companies don't even use them anymore. I think your best bet is to establish and build that relationship with your body shop. And I know for me, if that part is cheaper at another yard, I'm going to the guys that I deal with, because I know they're going to take care of it.
Definitely. Ryan Falco asks, what would you do to combat the shops that order OEM and used parts at the same time with no expectation to use the used part, but just wants the used invoice? I know that's not every shop, but it seems like some make it a common practice.
It is. It's true. I'm not going to lie. That was our practice several years ago when we were kind of navigating through how we were going to handle things. We didn't do it for a long time, but we really did. We would do it just as a backup, because if the used part came in and we couldn't work with the insurance company or we couldn't work with the yard, we wanted to get that car out the door. We're worried about our cycle time. I know shops, especially that are DRPs, they're really under the gun, and they're probably more apt to, or more prone to do that kind of stuff to you. I think you've got to have the relationship. I can't emphasize that enough. Reach out to maybe it's not just the guy ordering the parts. Maybe if it's a smaller business, you may be able to reach out and contact the owner and say, hey, look, how can we make this work? Because you're killing me on these returns. I think you got to walk softly. But if you see that you're sending parts to one body shop constantly, and take a look at their return rate. How many of their parts are they not receiving? And instead of just looking at that one part, and I think if you're afraid of losing the business of that shop, then I think you just got to look at how profitable they are, and are they buying anything from you, and is it worth what you're sending that they are purchasing versus everything that you're sending to them? Is it worth it? Before I just cut them loose, I would probably reach out and really try to negotiate. Sit down, have lunch with them, buy them lunch. If you can establish that relationship and show them your point of view and say, hey, how can we make this work? How can we, sell more parts to you? We want your business, but we're gonna go broke if you keep sending your stuff back. So if they're doing that to you all the time, you probably got to cut them loose, and just be like, you start charging them a restock fee or something like that would be a good way to eliminate them. But I also know that's a real tough call. So you really got to look at the numbers and know the numbers, I think.
Perfect. Matt Allers added on, in Ryan's scenario, what happens when we fire that customer, but the insurance company wants to keep quoting our parts?
Well, I mean, I think you're right back at the same thing. I mean, if you do fire that customer, if they're fired, you're not dealing with them. That's going to be it's going to be their problem between them and the insurance company. I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, unless you've got somebody that's really just, if you're sending your truck there every day and they're not buying anything from you, I mean, I would stop going there altogether. I'd block their phone number, I think. But yeah, the insurance company isn't going to stop. The insurance company is going online, and if they're finding your part, they're going to select it, because at the end of the day, the insurance company doesn't really care where that shop is getting the part. They're just looking at saying, we're only paying you this much money to fix it. So it's up to you. And if you have problems and you ordered it from a different source, it's really not my problem from the insurance company standpoint. It's the shop's problem, or the recycler.
Brett had a good point. Restock fees do wonders for that problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. If I know that, I'm going to pay a restock fee, or I'm expected to take a restock fee. And if you're getting a credit card from me, it's not going to be you're waiting for a check or anything like that. That would be the number one way that I would get that ball rolling. But again, I would, from a business standpoint, as a recycler, I would reach out to that shop owner or that manager and just say, hey, can I stop by your shop? Can I come out there? I got some things I want to go over with you, and have a few things written down that you can sit down and give them some specifics and just explain to them. Say, look, I know you're in a tough position. I know that you're working for the insurance company and you're working for this customer. What can I do so that you're not returning all my parts, that I can actually sell them to you? And I would give them some of the examples that we gave you today, and show them, I think if you can show them on paper where they can literally make more money, where it's more profitable for them to take a recycled part. But again, your price point's got to be the same. It's got to be a good relationship between you and the shop. And that really is what's going to make or break it, is your ability to reach out and have that relationship with the shop owner or manager.
Anyone else have any more questions? We'll wait a little bit and see if anyone has anything to add. Thank you so much, Tim. This was so beneficial, and all the information that you've shared with us has been fabulous. And we're so glad that you could join us today.
I'm glad to be. Wish I could have been in St. Louis, but this is second best.
I know. I think we all wish we were there right now, having a drink with everyone. Definitely. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any other questions. So if anyone has anything they want to add, you can contact us at support@u-r-g.com if you have any questions. We are going to be posting this recording on our Facebook and our YouTube, so you can go back and rewatch that as well. But I don't think we have any other questions, so I think we're good to go. Thank you so much, Tim, and everyone stay safe out there.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.